All right. Morning. Welcome in. So this morning I have some people out back cutting trees down, which is not my favorite thing, but whatever. So we might have some of that chainsaw sound coming in through the background. I'm not sure, but if so, just know that distractions are all part of the game, right? And that's what we're doing here in yoga, is trying to find a way to reset our monkey mind, allow ourselves a little bit of clarity, and move past the distractions, right? Distractions are just the universe's way of kind of putting things in our path. So if there's something we're really working for, we'll find more and more of those things in our path, just because it's like, how bad do we want it, right? So with yoga, sometimes to find that clarity, sometimes to find that that focus, we have to have distractions, right? Like, we don't know what it feels like if we don't have the distractions to kind of distract ourselves from, right? So make sure that you have some water handy today. Thank you, blessed water. Thank you so much for our opportunity to sip and taste and feel this beautiful source, this life source within us, right? Very good. And I don't know what kind of cannabis you're smoking on today, but I have a strain that's called Runtz, R-U-N-T-Z. Of course, they had to throw the Z in there. It's a very purple flower. When I break it down, it's so purple. And remember, we talked a lot about mindfulness here. So tasting, touching, smelling, playing with your cannabis. You know, it's great to go and buy a pretty roll from the dispensary. But one of the things you're missing out on, right, is is touching it, right? Like breaking up the cannabis. Even if you use a grinder to break it up, take your fingers through the cannabis and just kind of play with it a little bit, right? Just become in touch with it a little bit more. So again, I'm smoking on Runs today. This is a sativa-based strain, and it's from one of my favorite dispensaries here in town. And they do a great job growing flower. It's super yummy. So I've already started smoking on this, but we talked about the dry hit before. So I want you to encourage you, when you start a fresh green bowl, right, or purple bowl, depending on the case, that you take a nice dry hit. The dry hit is just not igniting that flower just yet, tasting the greenness of that flower. On really good cannabis, cannabis that keeps its flavor profile the whole way through your smoke, you can do that almost every draw right before you light it. So I'm lighting this cannabis and dropping it on myself, because that's the way of life, right? In lighting this giant, we take a moment here to reflect on our cannabis, on Mama Ganja, offering us the opportunity to practice together in this safe space, creating space for ourselves to be present in this world, creating space for ourselves to take up space, right? So with this cannabis in our hearts and our lungs and our minds, we just allow it to draw a little bit of clarity and openness to our path. We allow it the opportunity to guide us through a gentle yoga flow. Today, we're going to be working on a little bit of forgiveness. I really would love it for our next practice to sit down and kind of talk about the somatics, right? So we're going to start working in our classes at the beginning of class to kind of sit down and touch base with ourselves and see what it is we're working for. And then I'm going to give us a specifically divinely guided class that kind of reflects that. So depending on emotion or maybe something that's going on in your body, maybe bring that to class with you next week, thinking about what it is you're working on, and we can kind of do a yoga flow that can process that and help get that into the universe and maybe find some clarity and remove some of the gunk that's preventing that movement. And of course, my joint went out. So remembering as we practice together today that if at any point in time you feel like taking another hit of your cannabis, feel free. Stop, grab a sip of water, stop, smoke your whatever you're smoking on, right? If you want to try edibles one time, I recommend trying the edibles before we get started. So maybe 20 minutes before we join each other here in this space, you can eat your edible. I would recommend, if you haven't tried edibles before, maybe starting with a very low dose, like 2.5 to 5 milligrams, just to begin with, just to kind of see how it feels for you. Most often it takes about 30 to 45 minutes, sometimes a little bit longer for that stuff to kick in. So you're wanting to partake in that before class, feel free to try that. Just start it a little bit earlier before we come into this phase. So again, just reflecting on this cannabis and what it does for us, giving us the opportunity to connect with ourselves just a little bit deeper, losing some of those inhibitions that we create with our own mind, right? With our own body that prevent us from doing certain things, saying to ourselves, maybe we can't do it, or I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to. This cannabis gives us the opportunity to kind of let the mind wander, right, in a different type of way, in a reflective way, instead of that deep-seated monkey mind or lizard mind way. Taking a few more hits of our cannabis, making sure that we're getting nice and motivated, right? I live here in New Mexico, and so we're very much on the Espanol versions of English. And so motivation has become motivation because mota, right? Our cannabis is called mota. So I'm gonna go ahead and set my cannabis down, take a sip of water, just thanking the water at every cost, right? Like anytime we have the opportunity to sip our water, just reflecting on how much of our earth and our bodies are made up of this beautiful source. And so getting into the habit of being mindful, even as we do something as simple as hydrating, right? Drinking some water. So we're going to work on our sun salutations because we've been working on those in this practice. I want you to start to feel comfortable with being able to do a sun salutation on your own. So this is that one where we move through our knees and go into our knees, chest, chin, or use that chaturanga. I encourage you to do the knees, chest, chin a few times, starting to get used to that. It's the same motion that we're going to go through with our chaturanga, but it's going to allow you the opportunity to start to feel the strength of your arms, right, before you start to push into it. You don't want to blow out your joints or blow out your muscles by trying to do too much too fast, okay? That's why we're working together on this weekly basis, so we can really start to encourage steady flow and safe flow as we move through our practice. Okay. So let's start today in a seated posture. So you can crisscross like you've already been, but excuse me, if you are crisscrossing, make sure to cross the opposite leg in front as we get started, because I want you to come out of that comfort zone a little bit, all right? Sit up nice and tall, and you can always gather your bum flesh out of the way. Make sure that those sit bones are sitting into the mat. Draw your shoulders back and down and away. Tuck your chin to your chest for just a moment, and then close your eyes as you draw your chin parallel to the mat below. So the chin is kind of reaching forward, the eye gaze closed. You feel this current of energy that starts at the base of the tailbone, that pelvic floor area. You feel it kind of radiating up through our chakral centers, right? So we have our root chakra. We come up into that Manipura chakra, right? Our orange, our belly, our creation area, our womb, and then we move it all the way up into our solar plexus chakra. This one's yellow here, right? I always find a lot of turbulence in this space, and I'm working to deal with that. So it's a beautiful space to start to recognize. And then we start to pull it up into that heart space and the green space, right? Where we show our love from, our chest, where we feel vulnerable from, right? And then we bring it all the way into that throat space, feeling that current of energy just kind of radiating up from that space, this throat space, right? If we have neck and shoulder issues, it's usually a reflection of something we're not saying in our lives or not speaking our truth. So we can think about that here in the neck and shoulders, being a part of that throat chakra. As we bring that energy up, it comes up through the face, like behind the mouth, behind the nose, in through the eyes, and then up into that third eye center, right? So the eyes almost connect with that third eye in that triangular form, and that energy starts to push up and out of that triangle, coming through the crown of the head and off the top of the head. And our crown chakra hovers about 3 to 6 inches, just depending on the person, above the crown of the head. And it just kind of hovers there. It's our energy, right? It's our, some people call it their aura. You can see their colors in this space. Just allow your head to really draw tall here. And now we're going to start to think about some of our cues. So the cues here are going to be pulling that sternum, the bottom portion of your ribs, right, down to meet your tummy. And when your tummy comes up to meet that sternum, it's going to allow you to sit up a little bit taller. And if you're practicing in your meditation, remember that this activation in the belly is going to start to help strengthen that back and make it less uncomfortable as you sit there for longer periods of time. As you're sitting up nice and tall, think about your pelvic floor really reaching down toward that mat. And then draw your shoulders back and down so you can sit up a little bit taller. Think about pulling your shoulders out of your ears, maybe plugging a little anchor into the elbows. Allow your jaw to relax, maybe smile here. Take a nice big deep inhale, hold the breath at the top, saying something nice to yourself, and then exhaling to let it go. One more time, two more times, we'll say inhale, fill that belly up. Pause the breath at the top, maybe lick your lips, maybe smile here. Say something nice to yourself and exhale. Again, inhale. Hold it at the top, set your intention. And exhale, let it go. Nice job. Bring both hands to your heart. Allow the top hand to interlace thumbs here. So we're going to create like a little butterfly for our chest. Just giving this mudra an opportunity to reflect the openness of our heart, the willingness to forgive and release that baggage, right? So when we're holding on to the grudge, we're holding on to that rock. Okay, so you can imagine a grudge like a stone and we put it into our backpack. And if we start to hold on to all of those pieces that we need to forgive people for, forgive ourselves for, we start to really add weight to that backpack. Before you know it, we're just lugging around this giant bag of rocks, stones, right? Taking this class, this opportunity as a moment of forgiveness, letting go of some of that weight, allowing you to pull it out of your backpack, creating space for more important things than grudges or holding on to stuff that we don't have control over. Press the thumbs in toward the heart, draw the palms together at the heart, drop your chin to your chest, giving a nice reverent bow, knowing that this practice is already complete. Although we haven't moved through the movements, you are a strong being of light. And this movement today, this practice today is going to allow you to leave this back with new tools, new awarenesses that you can take out into the universe. Smile, knowing your truth. Eye gaze forward. Nice job. So roll onto your knees or over to the side. Let's find our tabletop, get a little spinal flexion going before we start our sun salutations. You want our palms underneath our shoulders. Spread your fingers wide, create that spider grip. If you're unsure of where the fingers need to be going, that middle finger lines up with the edge of the mat and points toward the top. That's kind of a starting point. And then it's going to be a little different for everyone, okay? So if it's not quite pointing, that's okay. Find what feels good into a point where you can squeeze into the grip and create a little suction underneath the palm of the hand, not allowing any dumping of the weight into the wrist. When you get your eyes of the elbows roll toward that front of the mat. And the reason we do that is so when we bend, we can catch our body with our elbows, okay? Press down through your toes. Pull in through your pelvic floor, push into the mat and round and curl. Now inhale, drop the belly and eye gaze up. Smile here, relaxing the jaw, feel a few breaths here. Allowing the front side of the belly to expand, press down through your toes, press down through your hands. Feel the activation in that belly. On your next exhale, I want you to push away, round and curl our Marjasana, our cat pose. So imagine that Halloween kitty. We're really tucking our chin to our chest. We're really pushing into those hands. We're squeezing into those thighs. We're pressing into the toes. Holding here, breathing, using the short breaths to come. And on your next inhale, drop that belly. Eye gaze up. Exhale, push away. Start to move with your breath now, slow as you can. Make sure to extend that breath all the way through. Push in through those toenails, squeeze into your fingertips. 2 more with your own breath, pushing away on the exhale. And letting it go on the inhale. Nice. Walk that back into neutral. Walk your hands out, one hand length. Curl onto your toes. Now lift your hips up to the sky and find your downward facing dog. Shake your head no, let it go. Nod it yes. Give a little thanks here. It's okay. Pressing into the fingertips, squeezing into that spider grip. Now the eyes and the elbows, rotate them forward. Notice how it presses your chest towards your thighs. Good. Bend your right knee, straighten through the left. Bend your left knee, straighten through the right. Push your hips to the sky as you reach your heels back and down. Inhale, lift your right leg up. And step it just in front of your left toes down the center of the mat. So we're going to take a tightrope walk up the top of the mat. Left leg lifts. Good. Step it in front of the right. Right leg lifts. Step it in front of the left. So when you start to feel like you need to bend your arms, I want you to keep your arms straight and bend your knees instead. Okay, we're going to start tucking those legs up underneath the belly. Left leg. Drop it in front of the right. We're making our way into our forward fold, our Uttanasana at the top of the mat, bending the knees to get them underneath us. Once you reach the top of the mat, heels and toes come together. Maybe the big toes come to touch and the heels keep a little distance. We want to come up halfway. So when we're smoking on our canvas, we might get a head rush. So finding this halfway point first, we exhale here, press through the soles of the feet and reach all the way up. Reach to the sky, tuck your tailbone. Exhale, let something go. Ah, yes. Inhale up. Good. Exhale, hands come down through heart center and then release them by your sides, okay? So want you to lift up through your toes and replace them down, starting at the pinkies, work all the way to those big toes, then start to reach your fingertips down toward the mat and pulling your pelvic floor. So there's this activation going on here where you're pulling in the pelvic floor. You're not allowing that pelvis to tilt down or back. It's centered over that midsection, right? And then the belly, you're pulling that sternum down to meet the belly and everything's getting tucked in here in this midsection. Right? Shoulders draw back, reach those fingertips down. Eye gaze can come closed here, feeling the power through your feet. This is your Tadasana. I like to remember it as ta-da, right? Like it's your mountain pose. So you get to good. Go ahead and laugh here. Inhale, reach it up. It's okay. Exhale, swan dive forward. So when we swan dive, we want to press the sides of the room away. We want to kick our booties back. We want to really keep that flat spine as we release it down into a forward fold. That flat spine fold allows us to fold toward the belly. Frame the feet, bend the knees, step your right foot all the way back as far as you can go. Now sink left knee over left ankle. Pull in your pelvic floor. Frame the foot with your hands and then peel that left leg up and kick it back. Now walk your toes back a little bit and press through your heels. Squeeze through your butt cheeks. Find your plank. When you're ready, shift it forward. Drop down to the knees. Then release the chest and chin to tap the mat. Shift it forward onto your belly, release your toes. We're in that little worm, right? Then we press it up and lift it up. So our baby cobra, we should be able to release our hands off the mat. If you want to go into a full cobra, you push up, keeping the hips on the mat. If you want to try that Adho Mukha, upward facing dog, you press to the tops of the feet, the hands press in, and then you look up to the side. Good. So let's stay on the knees, roll it back. Curl onto the toes, lift your hips. We're back in our downward facing dog. No big deal. Shake the head no. Not a yes. Nice work. Inhale, lift the right leg high to the sky. Sweep it forward, up and through. Find your lunge. Shift it forward, give it that lift, that kick. Find your standing L shape. So with our standing L, we want to lift from the left inner thigh. We want to kick that foot back, making a little L with the heel, right? And then we want to
point those left toes down toward the mat so we can really square the hips. Release the crown of the head down here. Lift the inside of that thigh a little higher. It's okay if there's a micro bend in the standing leg, and if you need more, you grab a hold of the ankle with your hands, floating. Release it down, Uttanasana, forward fold, big toes touch. Inhale, reach it up, roll it up halfway, extend it out long. Exhale here, inhale, reach it all the way up, reach, 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 tuck your tailbone, exhale, let it go, oh yeah. Inhale up, exhale, hands down through heart, drop your chin to your chest. You've done one full round of our sun salutation. Isn't it beautiful? We get to reflect on the sun this way and say thank you. Relax your jaw. Inhale, leg gaze forward, reach up to the sky, keep your shoulders out of your ears. Look up and then swan dive forward, eye gaze comes down. Release the hands down, crown of the head releases. Forward fold, letting it go here, shaking the head no. And nodding yes. Bending the knees slightly, framing the feet, stepping your left foot back. So we always start on the right because our energy moves in through the right side, goes across the body, and goes out the left side. So when we start on the left side, we're going the opposite way of our energy, and it can kind of cause a backup. So when we're doing our yoga flow, we always start on this right side, okay? So hands are framing the feet. We tuck and lift that right knee into the chest and then kick it back, finding the plank. Maybe you walk those toes back, but you want to press through those heels, tuck through the belly button, and pull your chest between your shoulder blades. Shift it forward, find the knees, drop it down so the elbows are really hugging the body here. This is preparing you for Chaturanga. Release it down, chin touches, belly or chest touches, chin touches. Then we shift it forward onto the belly and press up. Good. Eye gaze up to the sky or just out in front. Maybe this time you lift high onto the toes and then roll over those toes to find a downward facing dog. Shake your head no. Nod again. Inhale, lift the left leg up. Exhale, forward up and through. Drop it in between the hands. Find that lunge. Good. Shift it forward. Give it that lift, that kick. You're standing L shape or standing split. So here we want to roll that right toe down. Okay. We want to lift from the right inner thigh. We want to allow the crown of the head to hang heavy here. We want to really press that right heel back, finding that beautiful L shape. Maybe you grab a hold of that ankle and fly a little bit. Release it down. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. And then root to rise. Come all the way up. Reach it to the sky. Notice if you get a head rush this time. Exhale, let it go. Good. Inhale up. Exhale, hands down through heart center. Drop your chin to your chest. Bowing again. This time, the opportunity to work on that feminine side or the left side as we move through that flow. Smile. Say something nice to yourself. Inhale. Reach it back up to the sky. Exhale. Let's swan dive forward. Come on down. Hands frame the feet. Walk those hands out in front of your feet, and then heel toe walk your feet out to the edge of the mat. Toes face forward to start. There's a micro bend in both of your knees, and you allow the crown of the head to hang heavy. Grab for opposite elbows here, and just gently rock it from side to side. So you'll notice here that the back of the hamstrings are really starting to wake up. With each inhale, I want you to get expansive. With each exhale, I want you to think about folding over and tucking that belly under the rib cage to go a little deeper against those thighs. 2 more breaths here, allowing those thighs to start to wake up. And fingertips release down. I want you to turn your big toes out and your heels stay coming in, okay? Then I want you to bend through the knees and allow your knees to start to track past your toes. I'm going to turn towards you so you can see what I'm doing here, but toes are out at the edge of the mat. heels in. Okay, maybe your toes even still off the edge of the mat. You'll find out when you get there. Hands down, sink it down. This is Malasana, our garland pose. Okay, so we want to take the elbows and tuck them into the inside of those legs. We want to take the palms together and see if we can peel them toward the heart. Then we don't want to stay rounded here and all scrunched down. We're proud here. We want to press our chest forward. We want those thumbs into the sternum. We want the crown of the head reaching to the sky. You want the elbows pushing into the inside of the thighs. And you want to squeeze those knees around the inside of those thighs. Smile here, pulling the shoulders back and down, pressing the chest forward, really feeling the depth of the stretch on the inside of the thighs right here, okay? You're feeling it through the IT band that wraps around your hip from the inside of that. Smile. They call it garland pose because it's kind of like those big garlands that they put around like horse winners, right? So maybe you're that pride and joy in the race that just won. Just smile at yourself, thinking about having this beautiful garland of flowers around you. And release the fingertips down. Inhale, push your booty to the sky. Toes face forward. Gently rock it side to side. Let the crown of the head hang heavy here. Don't lock out your knees. Relax your face. Relax your jaw. Let it go. Good. Hands out in front. Heel toe, walk your feet together. This time I want you to walk your hands out one more hand length, curl onto your toes, draw your chin into your chest, round and curl forehead into the knees, and your chin tucks to your chest. Here it is from the side, if you want to see it from the side. We're rounding that belly in, we're tucking the chin in, and we're reaching the forehead to touch the knees. Here in this pose, we're creating the great locks of Mahabandha. So we're tightening up the Mula Bandha, that base of that pelvic floor. We're tightening up the Uddiyana Bandha at the belly, and the Jalandhara Bandha is at the throat. Everything is locked out. So if that forehead isn't quite touching the knees, I want you to lift your booty up and squeeze it a little bit tighter. That way you can really round and curl to get that forehead into the knees. That's going to rinse out your pituitary gland. And the choking sensation you might be feeling, tucking that chin into your chest so tight, it's creating a rinse on your thyroid. So if you have thyroid issues, this is a great posture for you to take. Notice if the sweat is starting to turn on here. We're burning tons of calories in this great lock, this Mahabandha. What we're doing is we're lighting a little bit of fire down at the base, and we're sending it up through into the throat, and it bounces back and forth like a ping pong ball from base to top, okay? Smile here, knowing your truth, and on the inhale, I want you to lift your booty to the sky, stay high on your toes. Exhale, release your heels. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale here. Inhale, reach it to the sky. Tuck your tailbone. Let's exhale and back bend. Let something go. Inhale up. Exhale, hands down to heart. Drop your chin to your chest. Give a nice reverent bow. And then hinge it forward. Finding that Uttanasana forward fold. You're going to walk it back out. Edges of the mat. Toes spill off, heels in. Moving straight into our Malasana, sink it down, knees, track past your toes. So when I say that, I mean the knees are going to try and stay in line with the direction of the toes. So if that doesn't happen, frog walk when you get down here. Find your way, okay? Elbows into the inner thighs, palms together, shoulders back, eye gaze forward or close. Pulling that chest forward, reaching that chin nice and long, thinking about a string pulling from the base of your spine up through the crown of the head, allowing you to reach that crown all the way up to the sky. Squeeze those knees on those inner thighs, on those elbows if you want a little bit more. Yes, nice job. Exhale to release the hands. Inhale, push your booty up to the sky. Toes face forward. Gentle rock from side to side. You can bend through the knees here one at a time to really exaggerate the movement, the hip shake here. Maybe you stop it and just wiggle your tail up in the air. Good. Take a nice big deep inhale, and as you exhale, heel toe walk your feet back together. Root to rise, come up halfway. Exhale, let it go. Rooting to rise, come all the way up. Notice the difference in how we're coming up. See if it changes the way you breathe. Exhale, let it go. Or if you find that head rise. Inhale back up. Exhale, hands down through front. So we have a couple more rounds here. 2 more rounds of our balls pose, 1 more round of our Malasana. But I want to get a drink and make sure that you're hydrating throughout this all. Because remember, when we're partaking in cannabis, it has the tendency to dehydrate us, right? So we want to make sure that we're hydrating at all times. Normally, in some flows of yoga, they say not to drink any water during your practice, not to drink any water an hour before, and it's like a half hour after or something like that, so you don't put out your fire. But when we're working with cannabis, right, we're already lighting an additional fire, so we want to make sure that we're keeping that hydration. That's the important part. Okay, so come back, heels and toes come together. Maybe you keep that separation between the heels. Micro bend in your knees, pull in your pelvic floor, draw your shoulders back and down. Reach down for that Tadasana, our mountain pose. So if you can see here, my reflection of my body is reaching into this mountainous pose, right? If I reach my arms out a little bit more, you can see that mountain shape. So we want to imagine that we're reaching all the way up to the sky, almost like that pyramid, right? The crown of the head is really reaching up toward the sky. And when you close the eyes here, you can start to feel your body sway a little bit. That's natural and normal. If that doesn't happen, you might have an imbalance going on in your body, and that's okay. We're working on that in our yoga flow, right? So press down through the feet. Feel that buoyancy in the knees. Pull in your pelvic floor, chest forward, reaching the fingertips down, pull your sternum in. Lots of cues, right? It's okay if you don't catch them all. I talk fast sometimes, and it's all right. It's what we want to hear isn't necessarily what we get. We hear what we're supposed to hear, right? So just listen for the cues. I'll keep giving them. Crown of the head is reaching to the sky. Say something nice to yourself. Mean it. Smile. Open the eyes. Inhale, reach up through the sky. And swan dive forward, come on down. We're moving into our ball pose, our yogi balls pose. So walk your fingertips out about a foot length. Come onto the toes. Round and curl. Forehead meets knees. Chin tucks to chest. Squeezing into that little ball. Forehead is really pressing into those knees. If you really struggle to get those knees to touch that forehead, you can always kind of balance a block on the knees. It can be kind of weird, but I do encourage you to start to find ways to get that forehead to touch, because it's really doing the work on rinsing out. And even if you can't squeeze it, imagine that forehead pressing into those knees. That'll do the same trick, okay? So holding everything here, tucking the chin to the chest. The only thing we're not holding is our breath. So keep breathing here. Deepest breaths you can possibly take. Feeling your belly constrict and push away. Relax your face, relax your jaw. Two more deep breaths here, really turning on that energy. Feeling your back round out as you push away with that breath. It expands your clothing. And inhale, lift your booty high to the sky, stay high on your toes. Exhale, release your heels, walk your hands back. Heel toe your feet out to about hips distance here. Then let the crown of the head hang heavy for just a moment. 2 breaths here. Inhale, half lift. Exhale here. Inhale, root to rise, reaching for the sky. Tuck your tailbone, slide back bend, make it a little less than usual because our legs aren't together. And inhale back up. And swan dive forward. We're coming back down our very last of that garland pose. So heel to walk your feet out. Toes still off the edge of the mat. Heels in, toes away. Start to sink those knees down, bending those knees and sinking the hips down. That's what I meant to say. All right, and then draw the elbows into the inner thighs. Palms come together, and as soon as this starts to happen, you'll start to feel that push away. See if you can walk those elbows in a little farther, and then really draw your shoulders back and down. Press the thumbs in toward the chest. Eye gaze reaches forward, crown of the head lifts toward the sky. Relax your face. Relax your jaw.
Imagine pressing those knees in toward the elbows, feeling the activation of your legs. Maybe you want to come up to a neutral or a parallel position with those hips today. It's a little more challenging, but I encourage you to find your challenge, right? Smile. Breathe. Good. Take another big deep breath here, feeling that head reach up to the sky, really feeling open here. Smile. And exhale, fingertips down. Inhale, push your booty to the sky, toes forward. Rock it side to side. Just let that head hang like a rag doll here, shaking from side to side. Nice work. Heel toe, walk your feet back in. Root to rise halfway, find that figure 7. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise all the way up, reaching for the sky, tuck your tailbone, let something go. Ah. Good, inhale up. Exhale, here we go. Strong dive forward, bend the knees, bring the feet. Step your right foot back. Step your left foot back. Let's move through a little vinyasa so we can start to feel what that feels like again. This time I want you to really squeeze into your spider grip. Rotate the eyes of the elbows forward. As you shift it forward, clench through your belly, clench through your tushy. And then bend the elbows so the body comes onto them and see if you can release to the tops of the feet. That's the start of our chaturanga. Comes with a belly flop the first few hundred until you start to strengthen those shoulders, okay? Inhale, we press up, maybe tops of feet and hands for Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward facing dog. And then with an upward facing dog, we can shift through the knees or we press onto the tops of the feet and roll over those feet. Shake the head no. Not a yes. Good. Step your left foot forward as far as you need to get the entire length of that foot onto the mat. Then inhale, reach your right leg up. Bend the knee toward the outside like a hydrant. And then make an arch with that right knee to come and tap your right elbow. Kick it back, flex your foot, 3-legged dog. Inhale, knee bends out to the side like a hydrant, arch it, tap that elbow, kick it back. Bend it, hydrant, reach it in that arch, tap it. This time, drop it down and cross your leg across the body. So we're moving into what we call a pigeon here, okay? Our king pigeon is Ekapada, Raja Kapotasana. We want to walk those left toes back behind us. See if you can start to find that split. If you have a brick or a block or even a pillow, right? You can take it underneath that folded leg hip. And that's going to allow you to have something to kind of settle into. This starts to work us toward our forward-facing split. So that's, let's see if I can show you. That's this. So eventually we'll get there using our pigeon. But today we're going to work with that right thigh being parallel with the right edge of your mat, okay? Your right shin, I'm going to turn towards you guys so you can see a little better here. So right thigh, whoops, there's my wall. Right thigh parallel with the right edge of the mat. And then you can see my foot here. We can start to walk it up to become parallel with the top of the mat. But you notice how I'm sinking over onto my other side? I've gone a little too far. So we just bring that heel back in. We want to be able to square our hips toward the front, maybe reach the arms out, and then hinge it forward, falling onto that thigh. Maybe you can walk those arms out in front of you, fingertips reaching, and then the forehead comes down. If that's a little too intense, you can bring those hands back to support you, maybe bubblegum stack, and place that underneath your forehead. You can also stack palm over palm, place that underneath your forehead, right? But wherever you are, I want you to walk those elbows out to the edges of the room or as far forward so they're out of your way. And that's going to encourage your chest to melt a little farther toward your thigh, okay? It's going to allow you to really sink deeper into the posture. So in our pigeon pose, this is where we hit that forgiveness button, okay? So just remember that forgiveness is not about letting someone off the hook. It's not about that here. what it's about is forgiving them so we can like move on in our own life, right? It's really important to release that, again, that stone, get it out of our bag, stop carrying it around, right? That stone of deceit or untrusting. So as you lay here on this thigh, and I'm sure you're not just laying here, I'm sure you're starting to feel it. You should be feeling it in the top of that left thigh. And we're cutting off the circulation on this right leg. So we're really starting to feel that depth of that inner thigh here. And we're really reaching our arms out so we can get our chest to be that product, that push onto that thigh to cut that circulation off, okay? So on this right side, we're on our male-dominated side. Our Pingala is the name of this side. And so on this male-dominated side, I want you to think of a male in your life who could use some forgiveness today. Just smile. Take a picture of them in your mind's eye and send them some love. As you inhale, I want you to bring in courage and strength. Strength to heal. As you exhale, I want you to just keep folding over that leg. Imagine tucking the belly underneath the rib cage so you can fold a little deeper. Maybe flexing that right foot if you're feeling any tension in the right knee. Allowing the breath to push against that thigh, feeling the compression, not only of the leg, but of the belly here as well. Knowing that if you're feeling super tense in this, it's likely that something is working, you're working through a block, right? There's something that has kept you from moving forward with this person or with this situation. And if we're feeling that tension, it's like we're holding on to it there. So you can imagine taking a nice, big, deep inhale. And as you exhale, send your fresh oxygen into those spaces, like it's a fire extinguisher, right? Put out that fire with your breath. Use those oxygenated blood cells and send them into those spaces that are causing a little bit of urgency here, a little bit of discomfort. And then know in this posture that oftentimes, very, very, very often, more often than not, people will find that they feel like they want to cry, sometimes laugh, sometimes scream, right? Stuff comes up in this posture. We're releasing so much energy and tension and build up in those hips and thighs. That's where we all tend to carry a lot of our stuff. That and in the neck and throat, right? So as you hang out here for just a couple more breaths, I want you to imagine thinking about the metaphor of forgiveness, right? If we hold on to a grudge, it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die from it. Stop drinking the poison here today. Let it go, okay? Good. Start to walk yourself back. Use an inhale. Start to press yourself up. Move slow. It's okay if you rock a little side to side. Come on up here. Frame your front leg. Start to press in and press your chest forward. And then lift your chin to the side and look up as you bend the elbows into the side body a little bit. Good. Nice work. Then bring your left leg. Grab a hold of that back leg. Start to bend it up to the side and sweep it around. Move slow here. That leg's gonna be like, what the heck are you doing? Just grab a hold, use your hands to help and swing it around. Good. We're moving into what they call as Gomukhasana, or happy cow face pose. So you're gonna start to walk that top leg back. You're gonna start to walk your bottom leg back. And you wanna sit it back down onto your booty. So for me, I always need to move that flesh out of the way a little bit so I can get my sit bones into the mat. But my knees are going to stack on top of each other. If I can get them in alignment, that's great. So you can see my hands here. My knees aren't quite in alignment today. That's okay. It's because that left hip is a little tight for me today. No stress, no strain. I want you to find what feels good. The most important part is that you're going to be able to kind of rub your fingertips down the tops of your feet and ankles. And this is going to help kind of open it up. Just simple little things like stroking our skin allows us to feel safe, right? It allows us to feel comfortable, even if it's not like pressing down into the muscles. We're just allowing those muscles, kind of telling those muscles, it's okay. We're in a safe space here. And you'll start to notice that with each breath, maybe you can release a little bit of tension and start to feel that left hip opening up. Good. Now bring your hands to your heart and drop your chin to your chest for just a moment. I want you to feel a nice bow here through the neck, a nice stretch along the back side of the neck. Pulling that sternum to meet your belly button, just breathe. Now eye gaze forward and then inhale, reach both arms up to the sky. Bend at your right elbow and bring the left hand on top. Good. I think I'm going to switch my camera next week so we don't have to see this mirror. It might make it a little easier. You'll have to let me know. So we want to start to just kind of pull down, pushing this right shoulder back behind us, opening up that right bicep here. We want to feel it almost push to the back of our head, that arms in the back of the head. And then don't let yourself round out here. We want to lift up. We're still feeling the length through the sternum. Pull your elbows back behind you. So this might be enough for you, feeling that stretch through the right shoulder. If you want to go into a bind, you're going to release your left arm back and behind you. And maybe you walk those fingertips up to grab a hold of opposite fingertips. I'm going to curl around so you guys can see here. So my hands are gripping here with one another. But if they can't quite grip, maybe you grab a hold of your bra, right? Or the back of your shirt, and you allow that to be the grip that kind of helps peel that right hand back down. So what we're working to do is get that bind so we can open that chest up. So we're really trying to pull that chest forward and lift it up, okay? Nice job. Release it back. Wiggle out those hands, fingertips to heart, drop your chin to your chest. All right, so we're going to try a funky way to get into our other side here. So it looks like this. So we want to pull that top leg over, make sure that we have a nice openness here. Okay. We want to press into the tops of our feet and lift up a little taller. Good. Now we're going to walk our hands forward and we're going to start to shift it forward, finding those knees for a second here, palms into the mat, and then we start to curl onto our toes and lift the booty up to the sky. Legs start to straighten. It's going to force you to want to turn already. So start to turn around, opening up the legs toward the back of the room, and then keep the feet where they are as you keep turning, same direction, and drop it down. You'll find your right knee on top of your left. So I'm going to spin back around so you can see. I'm going to try it one more time. So we started with our left leg on top, okay? We shift it forward. We start to find the knees first. Then we curl onto our toes and start to lift up onto the feet. Feet on the outside edge of the mat. We just keep turning, and our legs cross again, opposite leg on top. Nice. Pause the video, rewind if you need to. Try it again to start to find that motion. It's a lot of fun when we can find alternative ways to get into our postures. So even here, we want to walk that left foot over. We want to walk the right foot over. We want to sit up nice and tall. We want to gently stroke our legs here, feeling the soles of the feet here, maybe giving them some love, maybe massaging the ankles or the shins. We don't want to be sitting on our feet here, but we want to feel that flesh pressing into the mat, okay? Maybe you grab the calf flesh out of the way and peel it out of the way so you can stack those knees. So even here on this side, guys, it's the knees take a while to stack. It's about the openness of the hips. So now we're feeling it in that right hip, right? Pressing down through the heels, lifting up. Good. Hands to heart, chin to chest. Breathe. Feel your belly turn on here. Squeezing that sternum to meet the belly. Relax your jaw by licking your lips or smiling. And then say something nice to yourself or find something you're grateful for in this moment. Eye gaze comes forward, smile. Nice job. So we're going to do that bind for the arms on the other side. And don't stress if it's a little different on this side than it is on the other side. We have a dominant side and a non-dominant side, right, as far as movements. And so with big movements, we take care of that on our non-dominant side. And the smaller micro movements, we take care of on our dominant side, okay? So don't stress if it feels a little different. Good. Inhale, both arms up to the sky. This time grabbing a hold of the left arm and peeling those fingertips back and down. Again, we're taking that back of the arm and we're pressing it into the back of the head, and then we're using the back of the head to push against that arm, pulling our elbows back behind us. Good. You can already start to grab a hold of that bra that feels comfortable, or your shirt, and then swing that right arm down around behind you and really walk it back and then bend the elbow and see if you can grab a hold of opposite fingertips. So this side's a little more intense for me. So I'm gonna grab hold of my shirt here and just peel down so I can lift up. Smile here, knowing your truth, giving grace and gratitude for wherever you're at in your practice today. Now, if you're like, Rachel, I don't even feel nothing, I've got my hands clasped, like, what the heck, I'm super flexible here, that's awesome. Go ahead and fold it forward. You can always hinge forward in this pose. It's going to increase the stretch on that thigh, on that hip, and on those shoulders. Just be careful here not to round it out. We're lifting and stretching. Good, gently unwind. Swing those arms out, swing them out a little jazz hands. Nice job. So we're going to move into a pigeon on our other side right away, okay? And the way we're going to do that is we're going to sweep this right leg back behind us. Good. Finding the nice long leg behind you. Maybe you look over that right shoulder, look for a nice long line from toe to hip. You need to scoot a little further forward because I have long legs. Good. So you look over that right shoulder, make sure you have that nice long line. Start to press the top of that thigh toward the mat. Now look at your left thigh. Is it parallel with the left edge of your mat? Get it there. Knee is facing forward. Then we start to walk that left heel up if that feels good. Maybe flexing that left foot so you can really square through the hips. We want to square our shoulders toward the front of the room. We want to press our chest forward. Now bend your elbows into your side body. So again, like preparing us for that chaturanga feeling, right? Where our body is being hugged by the elbows. Then fold it down, forehead into the mat. Let it go here. Maybe walking those hands forward. You can even decide once you get here that you might want to walk that shin up to being a little more parallel at the top of the mat. Maybe it feels a little safer to go into that once you get here. So find any micro movements or adjustments you need once you get down onto the mat here. And maybe you stack your hands, bubble gum, put that forehead into it. Maybe you do the hand over hand and just allow the forehead to lay there. Sometimes we just need a little bit of security blanket, right? Just something that helps us feel a little safer in the posture. If you're stacking, I want to make sure that your elbows are wide, right? So that way the belly can really fall, the chest can really fall onto that thigh and allow that bind to happen in that left leg. Because this is where the magic happens, is in the left leg, right? I told you we work from the right to the left side. And so that's what we're doing here is we brought information in on that right side, we healed that connection with our masculine side. And now we're working on the feminine side, the Ida, okay? So when the Ida and the Pingala are working together, they're like any old married couple, right? Some days they don't get along, but when we can focus on these healing modalities, like using our pigeon posture through our yoga practice, we can start to release some of those things that we need to forgive for. So if you're a female today, I want to encourage you maybe to look at yourself for that forgiveness, maybe look at your mother or grandmother, or just thinking about your ancient feminine heritage and lineage, right? So think about bringing in that courage, that strength on your inhale. And as you exhale, I want you to think about breathing out that beautiful energy, breathing out that forgiveness, sending love to that person, that lineage, that female who really needs that forgiveness today. Relaxing your face, relaxing your jaw. Using your breath here, right? So the breath, as we inhale, we push against that belly. As we exhale, we get to feel the feeling of falling a little deeper into that stretch. So you should be feeling this along the top of the right thigh, right there where it meets your groin. You should be feeling this along the left thigh. It's going to feel like that circulation's cutting off. Maybe even flex your left foot if you're feeling any stress or strain in that left knee. Just allowing yourself to really fall into this space. We need to stay here as long as we did on the other side. It's important to really hold this posture, especially evenly on both sides, so we can find that balance. And so when we find that balance between the male and the female side, they do this little dance around the center channel of our body. It's called the nadi, right? The Sushumna nadi. And in the Sushumna nadi, like I said, this is where the dance between male and female energy occurs. And it's this beautiful dance, right? It's this beautiful reflection of homeostasis and love and connection with self. And we allow it to really bring energy in. That's that same conduit of energy we talk about, pulling up from the base of the spine all the way to the crown of the head. If we get stuck there, it's likely because this Sushumna is blocked. Relax your face, relax your jaw. Just a few more breaths here, maybe walking your right toes back if you're needing a little bit more. Maybe walking those elbows a little wider or walking the fingertips as far away from you as you can. You can even rock that forehead side to side here if you want a little distraction. Three more deep breaths here. Remembering to take it into that edge, knowing we get to release stuff here. You don't even have to have any conflict or work through anything here. You just get to let it go. Using that breath to let it go. Use that breath as that fire extinguisher, send it away. Start to walk the hands back towards your face, framing your leg, press yourself up. Great work, great job. So we want to start to pull the left heel back toward our groin a little bit. We want to start to shift it forward, find your back toes and start to curl onto them and press yourself forward. Find the palms just out in front of the knee at the top of the mat. Curl onto those right toes and lift your left leg up. I'm going to turn around because my wall is there. Lift your left leg up to the sky and then open it up to that hydrant. Left knee comes around, taps your left elbow, kick it back. Finishing our flow here, left knee out. Left knee taps elbow, drop it, kick it back. Open up side hydrant, round it, tap it. Now find your plank. Moving through your chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. And then this time, instead of downward dog, we bring our big toes to touch. Send your knees to the edges of the mat and sink your hips to your heels, forehead into the mat. Let it go. Extended child's pose or peaceful warrior here. Allowing your legs to really separate here so the belly can come in between the thighs. Relax your face, relax your jaw. Come onto the fingertips and walk your hands toward one another. Draw your palms together in prayer, bringing the biceps nice and tight by the ears. Walk your fingertips even farther forward. Now bend at the elbows, create a little shark fin above the back of your head. Relax your face, relax your jaw, smile here. Starting to press through the palms so you can increase the stretch, feeling this stretch along the backs of the biceps, through the shoulders, and maybe it takes it all the way to where the neck meets the shoulders. Relax your face, relax your jaw. Press those palms together now. Maybe press the fingertips in and allow the palms to tent away from each other. Maybe you start to create a pulse with the breath, inhaling to push the palms together, exhaling to push them away. Notice how when we add on movement or pulsation or an activation through a muscle group, just notice how it changes the stretch for you. So for instance, draw your palms together, just keep them together in prayer. Now push down through your toenails. See how we just activated those legs? See, same thing is going on here when we press through the palms. It activates a different set of muscles. Good. Release the nice edge of your hands, the pinky edge of your hands down to the mat. Walk your arms out shoulder distance. Start to peel yourself forward, find your forearms. Then pick your favorite side and roll onto it. Okay? I want you to come into a fetal position. So reach that bottom arm out, create a nice little shelf or pillow, and then drop both knees into the chest with that top arm and give yourself a little hug here. Relax your face, relax your jaw, maybe close your eyes. Take your hand, your top hand out in front. Gently roll yourself onto your back. Finding a Shavasana here for just a moment. We're going to end seated today so we can really create that energy. But I want you to find Shavasana because it's so uber important to feel that length of the body as much as you can on the mat, right? So I gaze up, tuck your chin to your chest, reach your fingertips down toward the corners of the floor. Walk your heels away if that feels right. Reaching your toes away, letting those knees fall away. Just smile at yourself here, knowing you did it, knowing that all this new fresh blood rushing up and down through your body is creating newness within you. So just as the cells get to recreate this newness for you, you also get to create newness for you. So maybe you see this as an opportunity that when we come into a seated meditation, that you can find the space and place to forgive yourself, to forgive others, and create that space in your backpack to start to carry the light, right? The things that enliven you and enlighten you and bring joy to your life. Take a nice moment here to take an inhale, and I want you to smile with that inhale. Let it go through the nose. 2 more, rule of 3. Inhale, smile. And rule of 3, exhale, let it go. Last one, inhale. This time, open mouth, let it go with a sigh. Draw the knees into the chest. Give yourself a great big hug. Kiss those knees. Tell them thank you. And then pick your side, roll onto it. Press yourself up. Coming into a little cross-legged seat. Sit up nice and tall. You can always bring a pillow into play or a block into play. Place it underneath your booty to find a little more length through the spine, right? So if your knees are up here and you're like, oh, I'm super uncomfortable, get that pillow, get that block, get that phone book, whatever. Phone book's not that big anymore, right? Encyclopedia, whatever you can find that has some depth to it, right? And have a seat onto that, okay? I want you to draw your palms up to the sky, relax your shoulders back and down. So we end where we started, right? We started right here. Palms up to the ceiling, shoulders back and down, elbows are plugging a little bit of weight toward the floor. We're feeling that energy from the base of the spine all the way up through the crown of the head. And we're sending that energy out like a conduit of energy, a beam of light out into the universe. And don't worry, you're not giving it all away. As we're sending it out, we're pulling more of that in. We're bringing it in through that pelvic floor, through that center space, through that zone of trust, right? Trust yourself here, that energy is always available to you. Trust the universe here, that it always has your back and it's giving you everything you need in each moment, whether it's what you wanted or not. It was a reflection of something that you needed or desired in this space, and the universe is serving it up to you. So say thank you for each and every moment, each and every opportunity you get to find this space, to find this gratitude for something that you've been given. Draw your hands to your heart in prayer. Drop your chin to your chest, giving a nice reverent bow, giving thanks to ourselves for showing up, giving thanks to ourselves for being present for this moment, for this opportunity to guide our bodies into complete and utter harmony, into complete wholeness. Eye gaze open. Thank you so much for joining me today. The love and light in me honors, respects, and reflects that very, very same light that I see beaming out of you. Thank you so much for sharing your time and space with me today. So with all my heart, I say to you, namaste. See you next